international teams to Australian teams. Because one of the things I forgot to mention or highlight at the motivation section at the start is that we're doing this for Australian teams. I'm an Australian government employee, John's with an Australian university, Brendan's with an Australian company. So we're happy for the international teams to come, but we're doing this for the Australian high schools. And so in the last few years we've had a reduction in the number of Australian teams and an increase in the number of international teams. So we're the same sort of 12 to 15 teams each year, but the balance has changed a lot. And so some of that reduction came in when we said, okay, there'll only be a maximum of 20 teams. I don't know whether it's related at all, but with the other timing, we'd also like to see just more Australian teams take it up to get the motivations and the feeling of the event would be much better if we had sort of over 20 teams. And so some of the changes I'm talking about are about making that possible.
But if you have teams and they can't, they will need a lot of international students too, which is good. And it's a nice atmosphere because it's teams from all over the world.
So that's why we're happy to have the internationals here, but we'd be happy if they were here and we had lots of Australian teams. We want one part.
So the navigation system, that's all written in rules for chemicals, qualified for the navigation system.
When you say the navigation system, you mean for the aircraft, or you mean for the dropping of the payload? Yes. There's not that many. Like most people do it in sort of certain ways. There's not that many rules on what you can't do.
Okay. But then the navigation system as well is pretty much
But the limits are you've got to fly above what the pylons. So the times come out, so there's a bit of stuff. GPS is, some people have gone to differential GPS, but still, yes.
But so, it's not that accurate.
Yeah, I've had complaints about people, someone complaining that the GPS is not good, as good in Australia as it is in America.
Take it up with the US Air Force.
Yes.
We don't have a lot of restrictions and what we're trying to do is we actually define the airspace boundary. So if you fly outside of certain points, if you fly closer than 30 metres to the crowd, that's an instant disqualification because that's a safety breach.
Well, it's not a disqualification anymore, it's a points penalty and you have to stop.
Yeah, because there are some CASA rules which are regulation, rules, and then there are other things that we've put in place. So what we do is describe that and like some minimas, but how you then go and do it. And that's why we try and leave it open because we're big on wanting to have innovation and ideas. However, in the spirit of the competition, we're also trying to make it, like the idea of actually just hovering, landing next to Joe, dropping it, taking off and going again. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, how do you drop something and learn about dropping effects. We've had people winching things down, all sorts of things. So,
can the kids place any other sort of thing around?
No.
None of them are rules.
No.
Just the drone, so they can't actually go and place something.
They can have something where they take off, but they can't go and place markers out there. They can measure Joe's location before their mission time, so they can get the GPS coordinates with their GPS system at that time, like just before, or they can do it within their mission time if they want it to be as accurate as possible, given that as satellites move, the sort of solution that you can get from GPS will change slightly, and enough to matter. But no, they can't. The scenario is that Joe's out there and they've got to go and help him. So within that scenario, it doesn't quite work, so they can have something there preparation. There's the hurdles there. They know how far the hurdles are going to be from the marker, so they can do something detecting where the hurdle is. So if they want a marker, there's two big ones.
And we try when we set up to keep the scenario in mind. So, you're not. The GPS bit is just one of the things we have to accept, but the reality is if you're going out to find Joe, you can't go out to visit Joe, take some measurements, then drive back and launch the aircraft. So we're kind of like keeping that scenario in mind. What would be realistic in that scenario?
And the hurdles then are a bit like maybe they're a building or, there's something that you
So another one, more of the rules. This is a significant one. No more prize money, because we weren't feeling that the sponsors are where the money comes from, and we weren't feeling that that was actually motivating more teams. At different years we experimented with higher prize money, sort of just one big prize and no second and third, or splitting it up between as many teams as possible, and it really had no bearing on how many teams attended the event. What teams talk about is they can't, because there's a lot of, each year there's a lot of new teams, and that they're worried that, they're not thinking, I'm going to win that prize money. They're thinking, oh, I've only got expenses. So we're changing, we're using the same sort of pool of money that we would have spent on the prize money to actually pay teams some expenses, so that basically there's a blanket amount for each team that actually attends the event. So if you
we've
turn
got a
up...
reverse registration fee, so instead of having to pay to come, we pay the teams to come.
And so that's for each on a team basis. So if you come with a team of 20 kids or a team of 2, and remembering a team is at least 2, that there'll be that payment. We'll make sure each competing team gets a certificate, and we'll list the names of the team. I hope there's not a 20 team, there'll be a 2-page certificate. In the presentation time, there used to be like a 10-minute presentation and a couple of minutes of question time. We'll change the balance of that slightly so that judges can ask more questions and sort of get beyond what might be a weak sort of presentation to actually get to understand some of the more technical contributions that the team's done. A weakness of what we've done in the past is we haven't been very good at giving feedback onto why the teams got what score they did, and often they didn't actually find out what exact distance did they be. So we're going to be a lot better on giving that feedback to the teams during the event about what they got. So as I said earlier, the location of this year is probably at Calvert, which is west of Ipswich. We haven't yet got that fully confirmed because we need to confirm the date to sort of go through that chicken and egg process. As I said, it will be 2 days only. There will be no weather contingency day. The weather contingency day, sort of some teams just couldn't sort of plan it in, and so we could learn after a couple of years of needing the weather contingency day that not all teams had allowed to be there on the weather contingency day, so we're not planning for that to be there. By having 2 rounds, it means that if we've only managed to get through 1 round, so say we do get some bad weather, if all the teams have completed at least 1 round of the competition, we will award the trophies and declare a winner. So that means that, say, if we're halfway through the 2nd day and a storm comes up and we're not going to get any more time, we'll just have to go back to the scores from the 1st round, and however many flights there were in the 2nd round will get counted. So it means it's 2 days only now. Before, we've always been in the middle of the September holiday, Queensland school September holidays, and more specifically in the week of the QUT break, because we have QUT staff such as John now, but in the past there were different QUT staff before John was at QUT. And so we've always been that week. But we don't, with getting it to 2 days, we don't have the restriction anymore. So we'd really like to hear from you guys about what works best, on the weekend or the middle of the week. Similar types of robotics competitions are often on the weekend. And whether it's been in the school holidays or during term, what's as in a weekend that's, say, the first weekend of the school holidays versus the weekend before, the last week of term, as to what's going to work better. So I'll keep moving through the presentation and then we'll sort of get to questions at the end, and I know we're very much looking at time.
Dennis, we can eat into like push wanting to get back and just eat into the outside flying. So feel free just to take what time you need.
Cool, thank you. So I'll pretty good another 5 minutes at least. So another thing we're going to change this year is the amount of support material that we produce. So as in previous years, the impact monitors, so the digital device that they're dropping, so I've got a bunch of them that are available for loan, so you can borrow one. I've actually got some here today if you want to borrow one and take one away today. So there's a form to fill out basically acknowledging you're going to look after it and you're going to give it back to me, but you can borrow those. We've also got a web-based tool, so you can just drag and drop the file, so that thing just plugs into it as a USB stick. When you've done dropping it, you plug it into your computer. It comes up as a USB drive, and now I've got a web-based tool so that you can just drag that onto a page on our website. It's not live yet, but it'll just be able to drag it onto a page on the website, and it will give you that plot that I showed earlier, so that you can zoom into that and you can actually test with it and actually understand, try and use that, the teams can use it to understand, well, what's going wrong, because it's fast enough that you can actually see different stages of the drop. So if you've got a foam system, you can see where it starts to slow down and then when it hits at the end. So they can use that to really understand what's going on if they look into it. We have some frequently asked questions on the UAD Challenge website that will need to be updated sort of once we get things up there for this year. We also plan on making videos to basically show some of these key things, because obviously there's a lot of teams who aren't going to be here. To answer some of the common questions, when we get a question this year, we may answer it via a video that will just go up on YouTube. We'll be doing some videos showing how to use the impact monitor, how to use the tool, what to look for. And again, if there's any questions you have, let us know after this session, and we can take some notes and try and make that support material available. I just wanted to show some examples of drop systems, just so you know. There's a wide variety. Now, pretty much in the last couple of years, it's been exclusively multi-rotor helicopters as the type of aircraft, but that doesn't mean it has to be that way. So I think it's a Mueller aircraft, the double duo up there on the right was, on the fixed wing aircraft. So it's still, that was 3 years ago, is that right, Anthony? So not that long ago. You're going to have to go back to 2013 was when we had our first multi-rotor. So only sort of 5 competitions ago, we had the very first multi-rotor. Before that, it was almost exclusively fixed wing aircraft. Yeah, with a couple of helicopters with some notable failures. But you can see there's quite a big variety of drop systems to protect the aircraft, the payload. So this sort of thing, it's got foam on the end, some fins to try and make sure it lands